Hello, welcome, good day, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Yeah, I thought so, I knew it. Um, yeah, hi. We're reading Remnants of Filth again. And I'm tired as usual. Listen, if there is a day that I am not tired, that is an anomaly, okay? I am tired all the time. It's part of being disabled. So, we have some tea. Unfortunately, I think I picked the wrong kind of tea because this one is quite cinnamony and that's not very good for your throat. But I am planning on making this one a bit of a shorter stream today. Um, Probably about as long as last time. Just because I am particularly tired today. I had cramps all night last night and that's so fun! It's so fun. It's so fun when you can't get a good night's sleep because of pain. But yeah, I'm okay now. Relatively. I'm just particularly exhausted today. But I wanted to come out here. Whoa, what the fuck? I wanted to come here, sit down, and read for a bit, and chill out. Ooh, sorry. Ooh, we are on. Oh my god. We are on chapter 21 called Have Mercy. Do we know what this means? No. But all we know is that the Emperor, I believe, summoned Gumung. So that's great. I was gonna say great or crazy. Crazy. That's pretty crazy. Yeah. Gumong just went crazy and basically went feral. And Moji felt betrayed again. Oh, we love the heavy betrayal in this. Alright, I'm gonna take a sip of tea. Hopefully it is not scalding. Do you guys know when the next season of Apothecary Diaries comes out? Because I am eager. Oh wow, there's so many good shows coming out right now. It's always winter stuff. Why am I hearing footsteps? This dog makes footsteps that sound like human footsteps going up and down the stairs. It's so weird. Arcane Act 2 tonight? Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna be sleeping, but I'll watch it tomorrow. I have been watching Arcane, unfortunately. And it is good, and it is gay. And you know what? I wasn't surprised when they made it gay. I was not, because they made it gay from day one, and we could all see that. It's just, I'm more like, I felt a sense of relief, I suppose, when well, I guess no spoilers, but there is gay. But so they didn't like straighten it out, you know, like so many shows do. But no, they planned this from the beginning, and I support that. No Netflix and chill, no Netflix and chill. It's never Netflix and chill with me. Because I have no chill, because I can't chill, because I can't relax, because I in pain all the time. Anyway, chapter 2 what the hell? 220 no what? Chapter 21, page 229. Let's get started. I don't know how I'm going to be reading today, but yeah. You sensed relief when they Oh wow! Oh wow! You know who wants to do that? Bro. I'm literally never gonna get over Savika. I can't. I can't when she smirked. Oh my god, I'm gonna kill myself. Okay, it's fine. Okay, chapter 21. Stop stalling. Stop distracting me. Oh my god. Stop. I can't think of that. I can't think of that. It's too corny. Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Have mercy. That's the chapter of the book, but it also applies here as well. That's the chapter of the book. That's the title of the chapter. Ooh, we're off to a great start. All right. Moji didn't spare her a glance. He continued to stare murderously into Kumong's eyes. The official knew Moji's temper was fierce and that he was unpredictably impulsive, so she didn't hold back a cry of warning. Jihujun! Still, Moji said nothing, as if he was enduring something with all his might. Only after several long moments did he loosen his grip, letting Gumong fall to his knees in the snow. He turned to look at the wind-blown furies, and his vision gradually blurred. The officials let out a brief. The officials. One official. The official let out a breath of relief and made. I'm never. This word is always gonna trip me up. And made obeisance once more. Obeisance? I don't know. Many thanks for Jihujin's understanding. Moji stood quiet in the heavy snow, his back to the crowd and his hands clasped behind him. But as the official moved to help Gumong up from where he had fallen in the snow, Moji turned his face, his voice low and muted. Hold it. What is Jihujin's command? I will go as well, Moji said. Startled, the official replied, powerful cultivators cannot be present in numbers during Shenong Terrace's examination in case of fluctuations in the flow of spiritual energy. Even if you come, you'll have to wait outside the hall. Very well, Moji said. Well, Moji still hadn't turned. His tone was terrifyingly stiff, each syllable bitten out. Then I will wait outside. That has an exclamation mark. He is determined. Any further attempt to dissuade... Hey! Oh, never mind. I thought You know what? It's fine. I thought I saw a typo. And I wanted to be like, haha, you know, like a bitch. Anyway, any further attempt to dissuade him would have been inappropriate for someone of her station. Thus, the official took Gumong back toward the palace of Chonghua, Moji following in their wake. Scene break. Approximately 2 hours later, snowy owls were sent out from the palace, urgently summoning every important official to come forth and confer. Owls are the slowest birds. I hope you know that an owl's flight speed is the slowest amongst any bird. So they are not very good messengers. I think most of us know this. Most of us nerds know this, but just in case you were wondering, bird fact. It was the dead of night, and this imperial order had pulled almost every high-ranking member of the court from their beds. Elder Yu of Changtian Terrace had the worst luck. This asshole just so happened to be enjoying the pleasures of a brothel in the northern quarter of the city, and right at the crucial moment, a fat bird crashed through the window screen. Hoot! An order from His Imperial Majesty! An order from His Imperial Majesty! It shrieked. Every high-ranked official is requested to come to the throne room at once to discuss Gumong's case. Okay, so they can speak too. Interesting. Interesting. Elder Yu promptly wilted. Wasn't his case dealt with ages ago? He cursed as he dressed. How has something come up all of a sudden? Your Excellency, don't be upset. A woman clad in scanty and sensual garb rose from the bed to help him dress. If His Imperial Majesty has sent an urgent summons, he must have his reasons. She does not want to be there. Reasons, my ass! It's so late. He doesn't give us a moment's rest. The woman pressed supple fingers to the elder's lips as she smiled wearily. Your Excellency shouldn't say such things. The walls have ears. What do I have to be scared of? I'm only saying these things to you. Elder Yu rolled his eyes. The current emperor does what he wants and when he wants. This isn't the first time he's hauled us in the dead of night. He's young and vigorous, but doesn't stop to think about our old bones. We can't handle this kind of excitement. Goodness. Your Excellency, what are you saying? The woman gently scolded. You're always so fierce with me. It's more than I can take. Haha. Or hee hee, there are two E's. Hee hee. If your bones are old, what does that make mine? Huh? These words couldn't have been any more insincere. Elder Yu had quite obviously withered. But he ate her words up, chuckling as he pinched her powdered cheek and kissed her nape once more. I'm off, he said. Little darling, I'll come see you again tomorrow. Gross. The woman giggled girlishly and saw him out, naturally making a great show of being unwilling to let him go. The moment the door closed, however, her face fell. Sorry, this is me laughing. Old trash, she spat. Can't get it up and looks like a damn toad. It looks like a damn toad that's taking a dung bath. I sure as hell wouldn't be serving you if you weren't so rich. She moved briskly behind a screen to bathe herself and change into clean clothes, then sat at the dressing table to redo her makeup. The woman had been at this brothel for many years, and had long since left her youthful beauty behind, but she was good in bed and willing to put up with a great deal. She always did her best to serve her clients no matter how revolting she found them, never letting her honorable guests see any trace of her discomfort. That was why a number of older customers, who were getting on in years, still flocked to her. Those younger maidens are so fickle, they don't say anything, but you can see it in their eyes. You're the best, Yun Young. Honest and sincere. Anytime Elder Yu and his ilk? The fuck is ilk? Do I want to know what that is? Anytime Elder Yu and his ilk said such things to her, she was secretly cackling. Yun Yang was neither honest nor sincere. After working in this kind of place for more than a decade, her face had become caked with thick makeup that she could never take off, and she had developed and refined her skills to perfection. With each arched brow and smiling glance, she concealed every hint of her true feelings, even when she was about to die from disgust. She makes me sad. How else could she compete with those tender, supple young bodies? Yun Yang faced the bronze mirror and carefully traced over the lips that Elder Yu had kissed of their color. She picked up a lip paper and pursed her lips over the small sheet of dark crimson silk as she sat to wait for her second client of the night to push open the door. She didn't wait long before the rosewood door creaked open. Yun Yang hastily pasted on her warmest expression, smiling as she looked up to greet her guest. Gongzi, you... When she laid eyes on the newcomer's face, she seemed to lose her voice. After a few beats of silence, her vermilion lips parted around a terrible scream. The man at her door was soaked in blood. This man was covered in bandages, and his eyes were thoroughly bloodshot. Scarlet drenched his hands, and a sticky eyeball was impaled on a finger of his left hand. He glanced at her. Don't scream, he rasped. Then he slowly walked in, lifted his hand to stuff the eyeball into his mouth, and chewed a little before swallowing. It seemed that for him, eating an eyeball was akin to imbibing a holy medicine. An expression of bliss suffused his face. He licked his lips and slowly turned to look at Yun Yang. What? Yeah, my question exactly. What the fuck? Get me a pot of tea, he said. When Yun Yang made no move, his tone grew impatient. Go get me a pot of tea. Tea? What tea? Scared out of her wits, Yun Yang slid from the embroidered bench with a thump, her body convulsing uncontrollably. She wanted to get back up, but her hands and feet were ice cold, completely unresponsive, incapable of aught but quaking. She shook for a spell, then let out a mad, blood-curdling scream and staggered toward the door. "Help! Help me! There's a ghost! A ghost!" Elder Yu had just left, and as she thought of him now, what? And as she thought of him now, he really did seem tall, mighty, and fierce. She began to shriek hysterically, "Elder! Elder Yu!" Yunyang burst through the door with a crash, stumbling as she tried to run out. Strangely, the eyeball-eating man didn't make a move, as if he didn't care where she ran off to. Blood-stained lips parted to reveal a mouth of flashing teeth, and he leered cruelly. "Elder..." And then she screams. I'm not gonna scream, but she screams. Yunyang reached the stairway. When she saw the scene below, her legs gave out. She collapsed heavily without the strength to rise. At some point, the entire first floor, all the way to the wooden stairs, have been covered in corpses. The only exception was the center of the brothel's hall, where a handful of prostitutes huddled together, terrified out of their wits, their pretty faces awash in tears. An important official, Elder Yu of Chung Tian Terrace, lay dead on one of the tables, 2 bloody holes where his eyes had once been. I like this. I like this part of the book. Yunyang shook her head again and again. No, no. Why hadn't the Imperial Guards noticed such a terrible event? Why hadn't Yunyang heard any screaming when she had been only a wall away? A leisurely voice spoke from behind her, as if its owner could read her mind. "It's not like the nation of Changhua is the only one with secret techniques. If I don't want anyone to hear me, I have no shortage of methods to employ." Footsteps echoed. The man wrapped in bandages stepped out from the shadows, holding a teapot patterned with peonies. Tilting his head back, he poured a good half of it down his throat. He gurgled and swallowed, then carelessly tossed the pot away. It crashed to the floor and shattered. "You don't need to be afraid. I won't kill you yet." The man stepped forward and grabbed Yunyang's hair, yanking her down the wooden stairs to throw her toward the other lucky survivors. Then he pulled up a chair, unhurried, sat down in front of them, and looked them over one by one through bloodshot eyes. Maybe I don't like this part. This is a little scary. After a long interval, he said, "I want all of you to look at each other's faces. I'll give you an instant's time." With that, he waved a hand from where he sat, and the brothel's doors slammed shut. With another wave, 3 of the corpses rose from the ground, including Elder Yu's. They limped, stooped, and unsteady toward the middle of the hall. Among the women, Yunyang was the only one who could still speak. It seemed the others were so frightened that their souls had fled their bodies. What do you... You mean to ask, what do I want with you?" The man spoke for her, then laughed derisively. "Didn't I already say it? I'm giving you an instant's time to look at each other's faces." "But then what?" "Then what?" The man carelessly stroked his chin, taking a moment to think. It was as if this extremely simple question had stumped him. At this point, the 3 corpses had drawn near the woman, and the eyeless Elder Yu reached out to take Yunyang's arm. "No!" Yunyang screamed in terror. "Don't touch me! Don't touch me!" "He's scaring you?" the man asked lazily, turning to look at Elder Yu. "Old geezer, you're dead already. How come you haven't stopped groping people?" Who is this? What the fuck is happening? I kind of like him. What? Elder Yu looked up and emitted a gurgling noise, as if he were piteously trying to explain something to the man. The man snorted twice. With a wave of his hand, a burst of black cheese swept out to strike Elder Yu in the forehead. The old man went limp and fell to the floor, spasming and convulsing before ultimately melting into a puddle of gore. So much babble. So annoying. The other two corpses seemed to sense something in this, their footsteps becoming even stiffer, their movements more cautious. In the end, they slowly dragged 6 chairs over and carefully placed them next to the brothel girls before bowing. "Please, take a seat," the man said. If it weren't for the fact that he was covered in blood and had just orchestrated this entire evil scene, his tone could have been considered courteous. "What, do you need a hand?" Though the girls were terrified out of their wits, they could hear what he had said, yet they seemed to be frozen. Only after a long while did they muster the strength to clamber upright, shaking with fear. Each of them sat on the chair, unwilling to let either the bandaged man or those 2 corpses touch them. Who are you?" Yunyang said, choking up. "No need to be hasty," the man said. Once you do as I say, and answer a few of my questions, I'll let you know, of course." He thought for a moment. "Oh, right. As a reminder, don't go hoping anyone will come rescue you. I've cast a barrier on the door. No one will find out about this any time soon." He slowly turned his head, gazing toward the tightly closed brothel doors. He licked his lips, the red in his eyes deepening, and laughed. "Shall we get started?" What is going on? Perhaps Lome Pavilion had drawn away the Imperial Guard's attention, or perhaps the bandaged man's secret techniques were as powerful as he claimed. For the time being, just as he said, not a soul knew what was happening in the north quarter of the city. Chenghua's imperial capital was yet peaceful. Huh? What? That's not even the end of the chapter, that's just a scene break. Boy. High-level cultivators, each the occupant of a key ministry position, arrived on the imperial steps one after another. Moji had already been waiting outside the throne room for a long time. Once Muronglian arrived, he refused to stand anywhere else, insisting on the spot right next to Moji. In the wind and snow, Moji's side profile seemed to be even sharper and more grave. Muronglian glanced at him, then looked forward again. "Shihujun, have you really waited in this heavy snow all this time?" he murmured mockingly. Moji made no sound, quietly letting the snow blanket his shoulders. Muronglian watched for a while, but when it was clear Moji had no plans to respond, he spoke again. "On that note, let me ask you something. When you lost your temper outside of Lome Pavilion, was it because you realized Gumong's mind might not really be damaged?" Moji closed his eyes, a faint darkness creeping over his face. But Muronglian had no tact. He continued without reservation. "Would you really have choked him to death if no one had intervened? From what I know about you, I doubt it." Moji remained silent. "The two of you—" Finally, Moji wheeled around and snapped. "Muronglian, are you done?" The snowy night was still, the atmosphere outside the hall solemn. Jihujin's outburst frightened every cultivator on the scene. They craned their necks to peer toward the source. Muronglian's pride had been dented, and his face flashed green, then pale, in bursts. Right as he opened his mouth to say something, the red lacquer doors opened, and a messenger official emerged to perform obeisance. Obeisance. I have to look up that word and figure out the pronunciation. To these important officials. "Honor Chenjun, His Imperial Majesty invites you in." Muronglian ground his teeth. You wait, he snarled. Moji swept furiously forward. the dagger at his waist flashing as he left Muranglian behind. That was a good chapter! What the fuck is going on? We're introducing new plot points, new characters? Maybe new characters. What if they're not new characters? That's even more. What the fuck? This is crazy. That was the end of the chapter. The next chapter is chapter 22, called Fighting Over Him. Slay! I can't wait to see this, or read it, rather. Okay. Ah! Sorry, there's an illustration. There's an illustration, and we haven't had an illustration for a while, so that made me excited. Oh my god, we have to read at least 3 chapters, because the chapter after this is called something else. We'll see. Also, why do you have hearts? What? How? Why and how do you have hearts, Catlick? What is going on? Is it because of No Nut November? Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I almost choked and died. Alright, chapter 22. Page 239. The great hall was filled with candlelight, and the stout coal brazier. I know what that is. I just don't read that out loud all the time. And the stout cold brazier within burned merrily. Flanking the brazier were a pair of auspicious beast statues that had been enchanted to move. Ooh. One functioned as a bellows, opening its mouth to shout, "His Imperial Majesty awes the 9 provinces," and it made the fire blaze more brightly. The other shouted, "His Imperial Majesty's fortune floods the heavens," as it opened its mouth wide to inhale a rising smoke into its belly. Muranglian had gifted these 2 boot-licking golden beasts to the Emperor, who loved them deeply, but Moji's opinion was that only the mentally impaired could find joy in such garbage. God, I loved him. At present, these 2 bootlickers had just finished their inhale and exhale routine, and they let out twin metallic belches before curling up by the brazier and falling still. Moji glanced across the palace hall. Almost every Shenong Terrace healer was present. Gumong was restrained in the middle of the hall, guarded by the elite cultivators of the palace. Someone had put him under a hypnosis spell, and he was presently unconscious. The Emperor was reclining on the pale yellow cushions of the imperial throne, wearing black robes and the beaded imperial crown. His face was jade-like in its beauty, his features exuding a clear willfulness. He had been resting with his eyes closed, but upon hearing the rustling of robes and hurried footsteps, he opened them and glanced down. "Everyone's here." "Your Imperial Majesty, Elder Yu of Chentian Terrace, Chentian Terrace has not yet arrived," an official replied. The Emperor scoffed. "The old geezer's getting on in years. Not even a snowy owl messenger can wake him. We think it's high time the leadership of Chentian Terrace goes to someone more worthy." "Your Imperial Majesty, please calm yourself." "Do you think we aren't calm?" The Emperor rolled his eyes and sat up straight. With a wave of his pale yellow sleeve, he said, "Gentlemen, take your seats." Our thanks to your Imperial Majesty," the entire hall intoned. "We understand you're displeased to..." Who is speaking right now? Okay. "We understand you're displeased to be called to the palace in the middle of the night. Perhaps you're even secretly cursing our name." One of the old nobles had barely sat down before this statement made him fall in haste to his knees. "What is your Imperial Majesty saying?" All right, get up. Don't give us that load of emperors needing to set an example for their subjects. It's so annoying. If you want to curse us, then curse away, as long as you don't let As long as you don't let us hear it, you can curse to your heart's content. A few old nobles looked at each other. This youthful emperor of theirs was possessed of a strange and intractable temperament, with which to a one they found unfathomable. What? Which to a one they found unfathomable. Which to a one they found I don't know what that says. But I'll stretch. Cause I'm confused. What? I think that's supposed to say something else. Although he manifestly shared sentiments with the conservative senior nobles, to the point that he had removed Chenghua's greatest slave-born general not long after his ascension, his manner was consistently unorthodox, and he approached every His manner was consistently unorthodox, and he approached every situation as if determined to establish a new world order. It's his fault. It's his fault. Everything's his fault. We know you want to get out of here to go back to sleep, mollify your woman, and visit your prostitutes, the Emperor said wearily. We will be brief. They were struck speechless. That was simply absurd. Did any other emperor of the 9 provinces of 28 nations behave like this? Eldor of Shenong Terrace, this subject is here. Report on Gumong's condition tonight, as well as the... What is going on? What is going on? Who is saying what? Report on Gumong's condition tonight, as well as the results of the examination. Understood. The leader of Shenong Terrace stepped forward, made an obeisance, and relayed his account of how Gumong's spiritual energy had suddenly gone berserk. Then he said, the spiritual core inside Gumong has indeed been broken. He has no spiritual energy, but... But what? The Emperor asked. The healer lowered his head. We found powerful malevolent chi in his chest. The Emperor mulled this over. Malevolent chi. Yes, this official has determined that Gumong became frenzied due to this malevolent chi. Unfortunately, Changhua has always followed the righteous path and has no contact with immortal demonic ways, so Shenong Terrace's knowledge of such things is limited. All we can say for certain is that the Lao Kingdom must have done something to Gumong's heart, but to acquire further details, I'm afraid we'd... His expression was harrowed, his voice trailing off. You don't need to be afraid, the Emperor said. Just say it. No harm in that. The healer made further obeisance. I'm afraid we need to wait for Gumong to die in order to dissect his heart, he said. Huh? Maybe he's the monster. He is the monster. I guess we'll find out more, but I got my eye on him. You mean, if we wanted to know what's wrong with him right away, we need to kill him right now? The healer hesitated. Yes. Useless trash, the Emperor spat. The Shenong Terrace elder fell to his knees in terror. Your Imperial Majesty, this official is incompetent. You are indeed. What would we want with a corpse? He's riddled with traces of the Lao Kingdom's magic. So long as he's alive, we can study him. What use is he dead? So we could bury him for the fun of it? Your Imperial Majesty, find another way. But Gumong's mind is broken, the Shenong Terrace elder said. Hardly any traces of those magic techniques remain, and I'm afraid... It was then that Muranglian lazily raised his voice. Elder, Muranglian, oh my god, not this guy again. Elder, whether Gumong is in fact mentally broken is still yet to be determined. He flicked his eyes over to cast Moji a meaningful glance. Isn't that right, Jihijin? I'm gonna fuck this guy up. I'm winding up my arm. I'm gonna fuck this guy up. Moji said nothing. The elder swallowed with difficulty. It was already terrifying to be called useless trash by the emperor, but now Wang Shijun was interrupting him, and the ruthless killer Jihujun had gotten involved too. He felt like he was about to faint. Only after stuttering for several seconds did the elder manage to speak. But this official has examined him multiple times. Gumong truly can't remember anything. His nature is completely bestial. But why would Jihujun suggest that his mind is intact? Moji replied, Gumong was able to summon a demonic weapon. Oh yeah, kind of forgot about that. The Shenlong Terrace elder let out a sigh of relief. Jihujin misunderstands, he said hastily. Although it is often said that summoning either holy or demonic weapon requires reciting an incantation, it isn't necessarily true. When its owner's emotions are exceptionally strong, or if they're in a very dangerous situation, the weapon may still be summoned even without the incantation, so that does not prove anything. Moji listened without making a sound. His expression was frosty, but his eyes stared unblinkingly at the unconscious Gumong. Moji looked perfectly unruffled. No one had seen that his grip on the sandalwood armrest had left a hairline crack in the wood. Another noble spoke from among the group. Your Imperial Majesty, regarding of all else, Gumong is simply too dangerous. If not for the timely arrival of the guards today, I'm afraid he would have killed many more people. That's right. Think of the sins he committed. Why has your Imperial Majesty continued to extend mercy? Why not kill him and be done with it? Muranglian snort, who believed it was more interesting to keep people alive to torture them, were in the minority. What? Muranglian sort, not snort. What the hell? The majority still held to primitive rules, an eye for an eye, a life for a life. Many nobles had blood feuds with Gumong, and they couldn't let an opportunity like the one that had presented itself today pass them by. Cries of "Execute Gumong at once" filled the hall. The emperor twirled a string of jade beads on his hand, then smashed it down into the sandalwood table. What are you yammering about? He bellowed. The crowd fell silent once again. What a racket. First the harem won't shut up, and now it's the court's turn. We've got a headache coming on. The emperor pointed at the Shenlong Terrace elder. You're nothing more than useless trash. If it weren't for the Jiang Fuli's refusal to take your position, we would have fired you 1,000 times over. The Shenlong Terrace elder could have cried. His was a difficult and unrewarding position to start. If it weren't for Jiang Fuli's refusal to take his position, he would have begged to resign 1,000 times over, too. The emperor cooled down somewhat and abruptly turned to another official. When is Jiang Fuli coming back? He asked. The official fell to his knees. Your Majesty, this official is also useless trash. This official doesn't know where Medicine Master Jiang has gone. Enough, you can get up. The emperor waved a hand, impatient. At least you're not useless trash. Jiang Fuli is hard to keep track of. If you don't know, forget it. The official was close to tears. Many thanks to your Imperial Majesty. The emperor looked up at his crowd of subjects. If we want to kill the traitor Gumong, we could have done so 2 years ago. We obviously have our reasons for keeping him alive thus far. It was clear that some nobles still wanted to speak. Hold your tongues, the emperor warned testily. Let us finish. We're aware of many of your friends and family have had the misfortune of falling by Gumong's hand, and that you want to deal with him once and for all. That way your hatred will be avenged. However, aside from retribution, Changhua, wouldn't gain the slightest advantage from that vengeance, so we will keep Gumong alive. Though the marks left on him are too faint for Shenong Terrace to glean any useful information, Zhang Fuli might be able to accomplish what Shenong Terrace cannot. If there's anything Zhang Fuli cannot accomplish now, he might still be able to in the future. We can wait. After a moment he continued, his tone severe. The memories Gumong lost are useful. The spells on Gumong's body are useful. Gumong himself is far more useful alive than dead. Changhua has never cultivated the demonic path and only employs proper techniques to sustain our cultivation. However, if we fail to even try to understand them, if we refuse to make progress or to gain intelligence about the Lao Kingdom, he sneered, then we think sooner or later Changhua will be no match for Lao. The Emperor wanted to study the demonic path of the Lao Kingdom. The Emperor wanted to study the demonic path of the Lao Kingdom? ? An array of different expressions crossed the faces of those gathered. But how can Changhua dabble in dark magic, even if we do it to our known enemy? It's still outrageously dangerous. One of the nobles present was the elder brother of the Emperor's favored concubine. Being exceptionally stupid, he couldn't help but ask, Your Imperial Majesty, if you want to understand the Lao Kingdom's black magic, can't you just take a few more captives? Why does it have to be this one? The Emperor rolled his eyes. Because the Lao Kingdom has already poured so much effort into him. He is unique. How hasn't that sheer idiocy of yours killed you yet? At that, everyone fell quiet. After a spell, Muranglian rose and bowed to the throne. Since your Imperial Majesty has explained his reasoning to us, he said, this subject naturally won't object. It's only that... Speak. Today's events demonstrated that the malevolent qi in Gumong's body is extremely potent, capable of breaking through the protective barrier outside of Lome Pavilion. It is no longer safe to keep him there. He paused. If your Imperial Majesty can trust this subject, why not let me take Gumong into the custody of my manor? This subject will keep strict watch over him as atonement for allowing this day's disaster to unfold. The Emperor thought this over, looking weary. This could be a solution. Many thanks to your Imperial Majesty, Muranglian said. Then, before he could finish, a low voice interjected. No. Moji, who had sat mute with his eyes closed all this time, finally spoke up from his sandalwood chair. He looked up at Wang Shijun and repeated his objection. No, you cannot take him away. At first, the Emperor was taken aback. Then he stroked his chin with surprise and interest, looking between Wang Shijun and Jihejun. Muranglian stiffened, the corners of his mouth curling into a sneer. What special insight does Jihejun possess? Weren't you the one who thought Gumong might still have his memories? I did say that. Moji rose, his height and the expression on his face both intimidating. So I will take him into custody. Muranglian's gaze sharpened. Why, exactly? Moji was curt. Because you can't beat him. You... Moji turned toward the throne. Your Imperial Majesty, though Gumong has been stripped of much of his power, if he were to go berserk again, he would prove to be as formidable as he was today. That sounds reasonable. You're aware of his martial prowess. You're aware of his martial prowess. Prowess. That one's tricky. In terms of one-on-one fighting, few in Changhua could best him, Moji said, cool and steady. I ask your Imperial Majesty to send Gumong to Jiha Manor. What the hell? Why did I turn British? To Jiha Manor. I will keep him under total control and prevent him from harming your Imperial Majesty or any other individual in Changhua ever again. After a moment, Muronglian smiled contemptuously. Contemptuously. That word is too long and should be shorter. Shihujin uses such pretty language, but are we really supposed to believe that you mean to protect Changhua and his Imperial Majesty? What are you implying? Moji asked. What am I implying? Muronglian tilted his pale face as he narrowed his eyes. Does Shihujin truly not understand what I mean? He lowered his chin and gestured in Gumong's direction. By taking him in, wouldn't you only be trying to protect him? What nonsense is this? Moji's face instantly darkened. Gumong nearly died at my hand not hours ago. You think I'm protecting him? I spit on my book. What was that? Nearly? Muronglian shot him a cool, fluid glance. He's still alive, isn't he? Besides, right outside this hall, when I asked whether you truly wanted to choke Gumong to death with your own hands, did you answer? Moji replied with barely suppressed rage. Why should I tell you? Whether you want to or not, whether you're willing, yes. Sorry, there's noises going on and I'm trying to figure out what they are. I really hope I remember to lock the door. Whether you wanted to or not. What? That's not what it says here. Whether you wanted to, whether you're willing. Yes. Why should you tell me? Your relationship with him, your private affairs, why should you be shared? Why should they be shared with anyone else? My fellow gentlemen are quite forgetful, so why don't I give you all a reminder? Ow! Ow! He's gonna out him right here, right here, right now. Muronglian's eyes glinted. All those years ago, didn't Shihujin's friendship with General Gu transcend class? This proclamation left the crowd not shocked so much as at a loss for words. Moji and Gumong had been inseparably close. Everyone knew this. However, it was also common knowledge that Gumong had nearly stabbed Moji to death after defecting. Since that stab, the relationship had long since passed the tipping point. Everyone was embarrassed. Some people laughed awkwardly without agreeing. Someone even said, Wang Shijun, that was ages ago. What more is there to say? But Muronglian seemed to have expected this response. He snorted indolently, the corners of his mouth curving more dangerously. All right, then I won't speak more on it. Having met Moji's gaze again smirking, let me ask Shihujin a question. You've always been ascetic and proper, unsullied by houses of pleasure. So I dare say, what were you after when you secretly visited Lome Pavilion in search of Gumong? There it is, bitches, there it is. Moji's heart pounded. So that attendant had indeed reported his visit to Lome Pavilion to see Gumong, but he didn't intend to deny it. Turning his dark eyes away, he said, For revenge. What else? If it was for revenge, why did you personally offer him water to drink and food to eat? Muronglian savored each word as he hissed them out like a venomous snake. Could it be that seeing your Gumangaga in pain hurt you? Oh, he's nasty! Oh, he's nasty! But we need it. We need this kind of energy. We need this. They hadn't been in the they hadn't been in the palace of Changhua with the emperor. If they hadn't been in the palace of Changhua with the emperor watching mere feet away, Moji would have pelted Muronglian with a barrage of fireballs. It was entirely possible that Muronglian's head would have been smashed right off. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Moji said angrily. "You followed me?" Muronglian scoffed. "Like I would need to follow you. Lome Pavilion belongs to me, doesn't it? Moreover, you have only yourself to blame. Could it be that you were afraid people would find out?" As our argument grew heated, one of the nobles tried to intervene. "Let it go. Jihujin has always been cold of face but kind of heart. He was just giving some water to someone dying of thirst. Wangshujun, why be so aggressive?" "Just some water?" Muronglian's eyes flashed with a chilling light. "Ridiculous! In matters of vengeance, it would be rare enough for someone to resist kicking an already fallen opponent, and here Jihujin is, offering him aid in time of need. Such depths of moral righteousness have truly opened my eyes." He bent toward the throne. "Your Imperial Majesty may deny my request to take custody of Gumang, but Jihujin must not be allowed to take him back to his manor." It was rare for the emperor to see Moji and Muronglian argue so heatedly at court. Headache forgotten, he watched with rapt interest. After receiving this request from Muronglian, he found himself undecided. "Well," he muttered. The emperor's hesitation compelled Muronglian to continue. "Jihujin gave Gumang water even when he was confined at Lome Pavilion. If Jihujin were to take Gumang into his home, who knows what else he would give him?" "He'll give him something, all right. Yeah." These words contained a sly hint. Yep, there it is. A sly hint of innuendo within their derision. Some of the nobles thought Muronglian was going too far, and they shot meaningful glances his way in an attempt to get him to shut up. Visiting male prostitutes didn't raise eyebrows in Changhua, but actual relationships between men were wholly forbidden. This was especially true for pure-blooded nobles. like Moji. The spiritual energy of their lineage was far too precious to waste. The righteous choice for such men was to carry on their bloodline, so Changhua forbade them from engaging in unseemly affairs. The homophobia pops out. We see it now. Furthermore, how could an aloof and noble person like Jihujun associate in such a way with filthy, low-born trash like Gumang? The nobles felt this strained belief. They thought that Muronglian... What is going on? The nobles felt this strained belief. They thought that Muronglian had gotten rather too carried away in his desire to slander his rival. Only Moji, the victim of slander himself, knew the jab had landed. We have one paragraph left of this chapter. One paragraph. Oh my god. Jihujun, you wouldn't want to raise any questions about your allegiance, Muronglian drawled. You'd best stop meddling. After a breath, Moji turned, his expression hostile. He glared at Muronglian to ask, "And if I refuse?" Ow! Ow! Wow! That's the end of that chapter. That's the end of that chapter. That's the end of that chapter. Alright. The next chapter is called Prize. It's called Prize. Are they gonna compete for his hand in marriage or something? What is going on? I bent the book a little bit. No! They are too loud. That's crazy. Okay, next chapter or not? My tea is like cold now. Ugh, wrong one. I think. This one is kind of average sized. Like I would rate it if it was like a page shorter. But if I'm hesitating, I think that means I should give it a rest. I shall give it a rest. I am not the best physically, mentally, health-wise today, so I think that is where we will end today. To get back up to good health. I don't know. I just, I don't want to push myself. So, that is where we end today. I know, pretty short, not even an hour. Well, almost an hour. Pretty short, but that's fine. We'll come back with it next week, probably around 6 p.m. We'll probably do this at 6 p.m. next week, depending on whether I have to feed the dogs at 7 a.m. or not. But yeah. Other than that, I don't know what we're doing. I do have a couple of games I've been wanting to play for a while. Oh, I also do have to finish some of the visual novels I started, so we might do that. We might just not. We'll see. We'll see. I'll get my schedule up. Tomorrow maybe? Tomorrow or Sunday. But yeah, that's all for today. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one. Be safe. Be good. Wear a mask. Bye.